The way you start your day kind of determines the rest of the success of your day. And I have been into like optimizing my morning for such a long time. And recently I created my own 3-hour power morning routine. And in today's episode, I want to share with you the ins and outs of what I do and what you can do to create your own power morning. Hello, and welcome to the Fast Forward Amy show, the show where we lift your life and business with simple strategies. I'm Fast Forward Amy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode every Tuesday. When I was a student and when I was a starting entrepreneur, because that's around the same time, I was obsessed with researching how millionaires spend their mornings, millionaire morning routine. I would research all the different websites. I would always be reading articles until at a certain point I realized I keep on reading all of these articles, but maybe I should just start doing the stuff. I have books about it, like the 5 a.m. Club and what are all the books called. I finished some of those. I didn't finish some of those, but at a certain point, I just decided, you know what is going to separate me from other people is that I'm going to stop researching, stop consuming things, and I'm actually going to start doing the things people suggest or figure out what works for me. And I have gone back to creating my own ideal week many times. Like every quarter or so, I have a look at my calendar and I look at, okay, what do I want to change? I look at my morning routines, my nighttime rituals over and over again to keep on optimizing, because I change, the world changes, my environment changes, so my routines need to change with that. But I do need the routines. I do need the structure. And one of the things that I've recently created is my 3-hour power morning. Now, I'm going to get so much hate on this because moms are going to be like, 3 hours in the morning, I don't have that because I have kids. Well, fuck you. I don't have kids currently. I know I will have kids at some point. So that's also why I'm doing this right now. You can make adaptations from this episode to fit your needs. I'm just going to talk through the things I've been doing. This is really from my point of view and how I've changed during the past couple of years. So when I started out, by the way, by the end of this episode, you'll basically just have more of a view on how you can be more disciplined and how you can plan in more proactive stuff instead of reactive stuff for yourself. And I basically just want to talk to you if you're feeling right now like you're not focused, like you're always tired, like you're always working but not being efficient, you're not feeling any structure, and you feel like you've just like thrown out all boundaries with yourself. That's what we're going to be fixing today. I'm just going to walk you through how I feel about that. So I always struggle being too much on my phone, especially since I've been single again. So my mornings used to be different. About a year ago, my mornings were like, I would wake up at like 6:30, throw on some workout clothes, maybe take like 15 minutes to myself or not, but I would be making, for example, breakfast for my plus kids. They would be a huge hassle before they would leave the house. And then by 8 o'clock, I would start my workout. Now, recently, my life changed a lot because I'm single again. I live by myself. I do have a cat. And so I've also changed my mornings accordingly. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to take this time to myself. So what I saw is that there were certain things that were a high priority for me that I wasn't doing. So I started planning those in. So I would often go to bed too late and then wake up a bit too late and then be super frazzled by the time I was going to go work out. And by 8 o'clock, I would work out, but I'd still be like half sleeping. And it would be because my personal trainer was at the door. So I've created this new structure for myself, and it's my 3-hour power morning. And it looks like this. At 7 o'clock, my alarm goes off and I just always wake up at 7. Not during the weekends. And sometimes if I really do go to bed too late, I will wake up a bit later, but usually I'll always have my workout at 8. So, okay. And at 7 o'clock, I'll have my strong mind hour. So what I'll do is I wake up not with my phone. My phone is close by just for safety reasons, but it's turned off and it's not next to my bed because I know otherwise if I use it as my alarm clock, I'll open it up, I'll look like, oh, do I have any messages or something? And I'll be distracted, and before you know it, you're scrolling for 20 minutes, which is a shame of your sleep because you could have just slept 20 minutes longer, right? So the phone is not close to me. I do have this Philips wake-up light that I use as an alarm clock. It's set to it just like glows and glows, and by 7 a.m. I'm awake because of the glow, and the birds will start chirping because I've set it to bird sounds. Fun fact, I've gotten so used to waking up from the bird sounds that now that the birds have actually started chirping outside of my window at like 6:30 or 6, I wake up from the birds because I'm attuned to that sound now. But okay, whatever. I wake up at 7. I try not to snooze. This doesn't always work. And then my perfect routine is I've put this water kettle in my bathroom. So I will make a cup of tea, I'll use the bathroom, and I will stretch and meditate in my room. I've put this like thing on the floor, what's it called? A carpet. So I can stretch a bit and I can meditate and journal. Now I'm saying this sounds like the perfect world. This sounds like the thing you would read in an article, but more often than not, I don't do this. But I do have a few things I do. So worst case, I just stretch in my bed and I still make the tea and go to the bathroom and weigh myself currently because I'm in this whole process of, well, actually the batteries were dead. They have been dead for months. But in the process of like losing weight. I know a lot of people struggle with the fact like, oh, measuring yourself. I used to have struggles with that. I don't anymore. So for me, it's just a very objective parameter of like, how is my body doing and how am I handling stress and water weight and all of that. So 7 o'clock, I plan some of those things in, and then I go downstairs, I cuddle my cat, and I will make this little drink I don't know what to say. It's like Celtic sea salt plus lemon in hot water, and then I add cold water. It's really weird, but my personal trainer has me drink it. It's supposed to give me more energy, I think. And I'll make breakfast, and by the time 8 o'clock rolls around, I've had an hour where I was just by myself. I did not touch my phone. I did eat. I drank all the things, and I have a coffee after my breakfast that I usually take to my gym because I have an indoor gym. And then, I have had my strong mind hour. The strong mind hour is supposed to help me not create a weak mind, because what happens when I don't do this? And again, this is like utopia. I don't always stretch. I don't always meditate. I don't always journal. And when you're like, how the fuck do you do all of that in 1 hour? It's because I meditate for like 3 minutes. I stretch for like 2 minutes. It's all just really short. It's just going through the motions. The main gist of it is taking an hour to myself before I communicate with other people and not distracting my brain actually from what it needs. So either I journal or I meditate usually, and the stretching just happens. And then the other stuff like going to the bathroom and things are just things I do, Often I'll wake up a bit later, forget to eat breakfast, or like use my phone. And then before I know it, my entire morning gets thrown off because then I saw something on social media, maybe like a caption that wasn't added to an Instagram post, and I get like in a bad mood. And then by the time that Kirsten, my personal trainer, is here at 8 o'clock, I'm like, what the fuck? Everything sucks. But nothing actually sucks. The world usually didn't explode overnight. So it's up to me to not let it in. And if I see a mistake an hour before or later, it doesn't really matter. And when I don't see it, someone else will catch it. So I don't know, this sounds very self-involved as I'm walking through this, but this is my power morning and I'm single and I have time to do this. So, okay. I have done this because I noticed that if I didn't do this and I would just wake up like at 5 before 8, I would be very frazzled and not in a good mood to focus on my workouts. And I want to focus on a strong body because that's my second power hour of the day. Either I do this with my personal trainer or I do this by myself, but between 8 and 9, I will be working out. That means I can go on my treadmill, I can go for a walk with a friend, I can do strength training. I will do something to create a strong body because I have a muscle disease. When I don't work out, I sleep very badly, then I'm not good at waking up, then I don't take care of myself, then my work suffers, my relationships suffer. There's just a whole thing. When I do work out at the beginning of the day, everything gets easier. Now, I saw some famous entrepreneurs say a while ago, like, oh, you shouldn't waste your mornings on working out, do that later in the day, spend your mornings on doing stuff that really matters. But if I don't do it in the morning, I will not do it at the end of the day. So I've really chosen to do stuff for myself and for my body before I start work, because otherwise I will let work take the upper hand and I will never get around to doing that just for me. That's just me being honest. Because discipline and willpower are not endless for me. So I really need to spend my day doing the most difficult things first. And for me, one of those things is working out. I feel like I'm this little car that like has a lot of effort starting to move, and I really need to start moving before I want to start moving. Whereas work, I'm like a really fast car. I can always work, that's easy for me, but I can't always work out and take care of myself and make breakfast and all of that stuff. So I do the workout, and then before I go and change or shower, at 9 o'clock starts my third power hour, and that is my strong strategy. And that basically just means that I take 15 minutes where I don't always set a timer, but I could set it where I take either my laptop or my Remarkable or just a notebook, and I do my Fast Forward 15 exercise. My Fast Forward 15 exercise is an exercise that I do mind mapping because that allows me to generate more creativity, and it's a focus and brainstorm exercise. I teach this to all of my clients, and basically what it is I write down big ass targets in the middle of a piece of paper. I write down the dates alongside with it, and I write down my top 3 goals in the mind map. Why do I do this in a mind map and not a vertical list? Because it helps your brain to become more creative by really thinking of options by drawing. And I recommend everyone does it this way because it stimulates your brain to create more vision, more creativity, all of that stuff. I think it's called like more right brain instead of left brain usage. So I teach this to my team as well, by the way. I have my top 3 targets and I write them down, and they're probably the same every day. These could be my targets for myself personally or for my business. I do this always for my business, and I have just top 3 targets, not more than that. And it's usually for me just what is coming up in the upcoming like 3 months. That's the targets I talk about. I have 2 current targets that are about what's going to come up in the next 3 months, and then 1 bigger target, a long-term target of a really big project I want to be working towards. You might have other sub-projects, you might have other stuff going on, but you really need to know every morning, like, what am I focusing on? So the reason I do this exercise is because I know if I don't do the exercise and I just start working, I will have messages to react to. I will have things that require my attention, questions, all of that. And before I know it, I have spent an entire day or a week or a month not working on things that are actually going to be moving the needle, not on like proactive stuff. And thing is, those 15 minutes a day, that discipline can change your entire business future. Because if you reaffirm what your targets are every morning, and then you take the remaining 14 minutes to brainstorm for each target, like in the mind map, everything you could be doing to hit those targets, it will become much easier for you to think in opportunities and possibilities instead of in just to-dos that you have for the rest of the day. A really good entrepreneur, a growing entrepreneur, shouldn't have a billion to-dos. Unpopular opinion. And you might be thinking, Amy, I'm just starting out. I have a million to-dos. Yeah, you know what? I don't look at myself as being that much further ahead of as you. I have a team, but it's not like a 400 people company, stuff like that. If I don't do this exercise, I get thrown into just reading emails and writing messages and posting on Instagram as well, and solving problems. But if I do the exercise and I take 15 minutes to look at all of the opportunities and things we could be doing, the rest of the day, I will be very conscious of the fact everything I'm doing that is not helping me move forward. It is just maintaining the business. And my name is not FastForwardAmy for nothing. It's because we want to be growing, we want to be moving ahead. Someone once told me, if you're maintaining your business, you're going backwards. And I was so upset. I was like, fuck you, but what if you're having a difficult time and crisis, or you're just really tired, or you just gone through a breakup or whatever? But in hindsight, I have to say that they were right. You might not want to hear it right now, but if you are not always working on moving forward, at a certain point, you're going to see that everything you've been doing is outdated. Other people have passed you by, the world has changed, and you did not get caught up on time. So while you are busy in your business, you should always make sure that you're working enough on your business, which is obviously what I teach my clients to do in my business freedom programs. But you should always be working proactively and looking for growth. There should always be growth in the different projects you're working on. Maintaining what you have, in my opinion, is not like a proactive project. It's not a fast forward project. So, yeah, I do this. This is the Fast Forward 15, where I write down my biggest targets, the dates. I write down my top 3 targets. These are the same every morning for months on end, and sometimes one will change. But the first challenge you will face is probably that you'll be starting. You're like, oh, I don't know what my top 3 targets are. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. That's why you're not moving ahead. That's why you are struggling so much to stay focused in your business, because you don't even know what your targets are. This is why every month in my Business Freedom Elevator, I do a focus and goals session with my clients. The first times I did this, and when I was developing this framework, I didn't even know what my focus was. My team didn't know what their focus was. That's where the problem lies. That's when it gets really difficult to prioritize and to see where your resources are going to flow to. So this exercise basically resets you every morning so that the rest of the day, subconsciously, you will be able to focus much more on the things that matter, and you'll be able to reach your targets much faster than if you wouldn't be doing it. So do it, write down your top 3 targets, and then use the remaining 14 minutes to really write down all of the things you could be doing to hit those targets. You don't have to put those into projects. You don't have to put those into to-do lists. Those can be the same every day. Do make sure that you can refine your mind maps, but you're just doing that to stimulate your brain to think think creatively, to think in possibilities, and to make sure that the rest of the day you are wired to know, like, it doesn't matter, like, I shouldn't be scrolling on my phone, I shouldn't be on the phone all the time, but I should be working towards these things because there are a bunch of possibilities of things that I'm not doing because I'm not creating the time and space for them. So my 3-hour power morning consists of strong mind, strong body, strong strategy. What if you don't have any time? You can still do this. You can still create strong mind, strong body, strong strategy by, for example, saying, okay, when my alarm clock goes off, I take 3 minutes to meditate sitting upright. Bam, you have your strong mind. It will center you. Meditating is like high performance sport for your brain. It will really teach your brain to be much more centered and grounded throughout the day. Strong mind, 2-minute stretch. That can be your strong mind. And then strong strategy, it could be that you basically on the toilet, you have a notepad and you write down your top 3 goals, and that's it. You can reduce this to become a 10-minute thing. I know for the busy moms out there, maybe you wake up because your kids are screaming. I am not a mom, so I can't tell you what to do. But I can tell you that if you're currently feeling like something isn't working, you need to fix that. And that might be that by the time you've dropped off your kids at preschool or whatever, you're so frazzled, and then you're in the car already checking your email because you got the notifications, and by the time you arrive at work, you have so much shit to solve that you're not going to get around to doing the Fast Forward 15. But what if you turned off your notifications? You realize that those things probably can wait another hour, and you start by arriving at work before you open your computer or whatever, you have the same notepad where you do your Fast Forward 15 exercise. That is 15 minutes that is going to change the course of your future. I just want to ask you to do something along those lines as a first thing in the day, because it is your power morning. I do believe it doesn't matter to me if you're like a late worker or early worker, but the first few hours of your day will determine the rest of it. Like how you do one thing determines how you do all things. So if you're going to start your day by doing a bunch of shit for other people, it's going to be very difficult to reclaim that space later in the day because your willpower battery is getting lower and lower. So what if you started the day, instead of like making your battery go lower, by charging your battery by setting the right focus for yourself? That's why I do my power morning. I mess up most days, but at least I'm doing pieces of it. And there have been some things that have become easier and easier. I've trained a lot with a personal trainer at 8 o'clock. Now, when she is sick or when she has a vacation, I am able to train by myself at 8 o'clock because I've taught myself that 8 o'clock is just go time and I do the thing. When I'm on a vacation, I'll maybe drink coffee earlier, I'll wake up later and stuff, but I'll still journal a bit. Look at which elements really do the thing for you and create your own power morning. And I'd love for you to tell me what your power morning looks like, actually. Maybe we can do that. Like maybe we can create a thing, like a social media template, and everyone can share their power morning, or I'll make a post about that. I will be sharing a template on my Instagram this week for your own power morning. And let me know at what time you'll be doing what, or without the times, you can fill it out. You can find it on my Instagram, and let's create your power morning. I really feel like this could be a book or something, but yeah, okay. And if one of the things, by the way, that is something I would never do is turn on the news in the morning. If you're in the car, that is probably something that's going to make you very, very depressed. But you might be thinking, what else can I listen to in the morning right when I wake up to get fired up? That could be my 29 wake-up calls. So if you're like, hey, Amy, I do wake up, but I'm too slow to start creating something myself, but I could use some positive input for my strong mind hour or piece of your day, then you can go ahead and subscribe to my 29 wake-up calls. And for 29 days, you'll wake up with me with a new podcast episode and a recap email that you'll get from me. You'll get the link to the playlist to subscribe to. So every morning you can start with like half an hour-ish of Fast Forward Amy so that you can create your own strong mind, or you can use that during your workout or while you're in the car. It's really great. I'll teach you to basically fast forward in 29 days in 29 wake-up calls. The link is fastforwardamy.com/29 wake-up calls. And let me know what you thought of this episode. I don't know. Yeah, I like the episode. So we have strong mind, strong body, strong strategy, and basically not everything has to take an hour. You can create whatever you want, but create your own power morning or power piece of your day is what I would suggest. And know that what works for someone else might definitely not work for you, but working proactively before you work reactively kind of always works. So good luck. If you want the recap of this episode with the examples and the links I talked about, you can find that through fastforwardamy.com/29 number of this episode. So you can see the number of this episode. You can just go to that link, or through fastforwardamy.com/podcast. You can always find all of the articles and links, and same with the 29 wake-up call stuff. You can just research anything in the website. We're currently optimizing it. It's turning into something really great. So I'll be back next week, Tuesday, with a new episode of the Fast Forward Amy Show. Thanks for tuning in, and come and say hi on my Instagram account, FastForwardAmy, because I'd love to hear from you and what you thought of this episode. I really, really do care. So see you there, and have a happy day.